The Naira has shown remarkable resilience in recent times, boosted by the Central Bank of Nigeria's foreign exchange reforms. This upward trend has brought relief to Nigeria's business environment. However, concerns linger that this strengthening may be temporary, leaving the Naira's long-term stability uncertain. According to Bloomberg, the Naira has strengthened by 2.6% since the beginning of the year. Conversely, during the same period, Nigeria's foreign reserves are down $2.34 billion since hitting $40.92 billion high on January the 6th. As of Monday, the reserve stood at $38.58 billion. Well, joining us in the studio for this conversation is CEO Finance with Muktar Mohammed. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you. Good morning.
And welcome to our studio.
Amazing studio. Amazing studio.
All right, talk to us. It's as if a lot of Nigerians do not understand the dynamics of the Naira, the strengthening of the Naira, and then we see a reduction of the foreign reserves. What's going on behind the scene?
Well, what we've been talking since, is going on behind the scene. That's injection of liquidity into the market by the CBN, which for me is long overdue. You remember I've said it here several times that it's not proper for any central bank anywhere in the world to allow market forces to determine the value of your currency. There's place for market forces. When market forces begin to undervalue your currency, there's need for you to step in. And that's what we've been preaching thus far. I remember there was time the reserve went as high as 40 billion and the exchange rate was still 1,700. And I said, what's the need of having so much money in your house and your people are still suffering? I think for me is the intervention. Can it be sustained?
That's the question. So
what type of...
We are defending the Naira, is that what you're saying?
Well, tactically defending the Naira, it means that they realize that the true value of the Naira is not what it is today. It shouldn't be exchanged. Even at the budget price at 1,500 is still high. The challenge I have is that sometimes they allow this thing to just go on unchecked for a long time. And then when you try to intervene, then definitely the people are going to say, well, why are you intervening now? Why is it now? Because if you look at it now, you are intervening and you're dropping the price to about 1,490, 1,500. But your budget is saying that the exchange rate was tagged at 1,500. Is that the true value of your Naira? There's so much disconnect between the monetary sector and the physical side. And so that's why we're having all these challenges that we're having. For me, I think even at 1,500, the Naira is still undervalued. There's no need where the Naira should be exchanging for 1,500. It's assault because, again, when you look at the Naira even exchanging to neighboring countries that are even depending on Nigeria, realize the Naira is still suffering because of market forces, and market forces are speculators that are really hitting on the Naira. I think the intervention, now the problem is sustainability and what really are you intervening? Are you intervening just for the luxury side of it, school fees, house rent, school fees, health, and also maybe traveling? Is that where you're intervening? Or you're intervening in the real sector? Are you intervening in the manufacturing sector? Are you intervening in making sure that SMEs are able to bring in their goods timely at a good rate? That will help drive down inflation. That will help boost liquidity so that they were able to import.
Where are we intervening? You tell us.
If you go to the banks, now presently, if you go and you look at you tell them that they are still intervening in the retail side, which is for me is the challenge. I've kept saying that the challenge has not been those people that need that $10 million or those people that need that $5 million. The challenge has been that person that even need $200, $100, that SME that needs just to pay for a certification, just to pay to get his product on social media. He needs to pay with dollar. Then the other side is the person that is supposed to travel, that is supposed to pay visa fee. Ordinary it's not supposed to be, and the embassy is saying you have to pay in Naira. You have to pay in dollars. And so those are the people that are really putting that pressure on the retail side. So the demand on the retail side is really, really high, but the supply is low. I think that's that gap that the CBN is now trying to come in and filtering that gap. And then again, remember, not to forget that the CBN have said that they are going to give, I think it was supposed to last between sometime December to January, but that didn't work. So they are now saying the bureau change, you have a window to access FX from the CBN. And you know the bureau change largely deal with the retail sector.
Absolutely. So talking about the gap between the official and parallel market rates, you know, said is now narrowed to less than 1%. Compared to the previous disparities of up to 20% where it used to be. So I'm wondering how significant you consider this narrowing of forex market gap, you know, for economic stability, and what are the key factors that you consider, you know, driving this convergence?
First of all, who widened the gap? It was the CBN that widened the gap. You know, there was a time that the exchange was, I think it was about 870, and the CBN just woke up the money and move it to 1,300 or thereabout, saying they wanted to narrow the gap between the parallel market and the official market. I think that was the biggest mistake. It has never happened before, whereby the official market is trying to gap with the parallel market. It was happening for the first time. And that has been the challenge. After that, you saw that gap continue. I think for me, 1%, it's going to be a gradual progression, and the progression will be determined by how much liquidity do you have in the system. We might have that challenge going forward. Like you said, just intervening, you've seen about 2-point-something billion. Oil output by NBC has gone down to about 1.4 billion from a height of 1.7. Now we are doing 1.4. So that's a challenge in terms of FX coming to our economy. The current United States president favors a lower oil price. We might not even get oil at that 73 Naira per barrel is the budget price. That will create a challenge to our budget. Then again, Nigerian remittance in the diaspora is being challenged now because of these immigration policies and that. So when you look at the sources where we'll get FX from, there is challenge. So that's where my concern lies. So if those challenges persist, then there will be a big problem. But the beauty about that challenge is that it will open up an opportunity in local refining, which may create jobs. Because as you are saying now, as oil price goes down, price of refined petroleum products in turn goes down. And that will create the challenge that we have in terms of inflation, in terms of demand for FX is getting reduced now. So that also is an advantage to us. That means we start buying PMS at a lower price. You know, fuel is the life wire of Nigerian economy. So you could see inflation come down in one essence. But in gaining that, we may be losing in one end in terms of earnings to our foreign reserve, could be coming down and could put more pressure on our Naira.
So that's perhaps where my next question lies, although I have two questions in one. Are there implications for this depleting foreign reserves, especially when it comes to talking about investors' confidence and all of it? That's on the one hand. On the second hand, who determines the value of the Naira?
Okay, let me start with the second one. Who determines the value of the Naira? It's demand and supply. It's market forces. But you as the regulator, it's just like what we have in some most regulated sector of the Nigerian economy. Even if it's deregulated, there's a bank where you say, okay, this is what is the value, and those are who are the regulators? The Central Bank of Nigeria. They determine the exchange rate, and now their market forces now say if that range is sustainable. And how do market forces come in? Market forces come in and say, look, we don't believe in this, your rate, so we are going to be, okay, let me give you an example. If CBN said, okay, today the exchange rate is 1,000, market forces say, oh, no, we think it's 1,200. Then it's the war. The price war starts. It's just like what we're having in the petroleum sector. And he that have the largest check, the war check, will be able to bring it to that minimum. So what legitimate demand? So the challenge has been meeting demands. Has been a challenge. So if I say my currency is 1,000 and I can meet every demand because I have enough liquidity, fantastic. So it will remain like that. But if I say my currency is 1,000 and I go to the bank and I need FX for legitimate transaction and I cannot get it, then they will determine the price. So that is what. But the CBN will be the one to set the price, but the market forces will determine the sustainability of that price. Right. And if CBN feel that you have gone way and above, they tactically intervene like what we're doing. There's no complete floating of the Naira in any part of the world. I mean, any complete floating of the currency in any part of the world, even in the United States of America. So that is one. The investor confidence. Look, investor confidence are driven by a lot of policy, two-way exchange system. If an investor knows, if I come to Nigeria to invest, if I'm leaving Nigeria, I will have my funds back. Investors will not be bothered. So investors are looking for gain. So they come in here, they look at your environment, they don't just look at your exchange, but the exchange is very important in the fact that it determines whether I could exit or enter. That's one. Secondly, they look at your market and say, okay, look, can I make profit here? And once I've made my profit, how much can I repatriate my profit back? That's what investors are interested in. So if you create that system, and that system only can be created with enough liquidity, like you said. If there's no enough liquidity, no investor will want to come because he said, okay, when I want to exit, I'll have problems. Remember the airlines issues. Yeah. That's why. So the bottom line is that investor wants to come, but investors are looking at the two-way system, entering and exit.
So you mentioned the impact of the diaspora remittance, dwindling, and then there are opportunities that will create, and also the price of crude oil, internationally. If you recall yesterday, Dangote was yesterday or day before yesterday saying that he has reduced the price of petrol price, per liter due to Ramadan. But do you think it's just a kind of PR stunt? It is the prevailing market circumstances that allowed him to be able to do that in the first place?
Well, it could start with PR, but again, how sustainable is it? So that's what.
Yeah, you said for Ramadan. So
for
that's
Ramadan,
just
so if it's
30 days.
If it's just for 30 days, then it's PR. So after 30 days, we go back. So what happened? Can an economy feel the impact of a 30 days reduction in price? Can it add to the consumer, to the Nigerian consumer? Will it make any difference for just 30 days of Ramadan? So for me, when you're looking at it, so we shouldn't be so excited about it's not a price war because we can only enjoy it for 30 days. But again, in any economy, there's what you call bonanza. A telecom can say, I'm going to give you bonanza for the next 1 month. After that 1 month, that bonanza. It's all market.
It's not based on
it's a still market strategy, which is good. After 30 days, you can say, you've seen bonanza and say, oh, I decide to extend it. So maybe, after the Ramadan, we'll have Easter. So we'll be excited in December. I say the whole of December, you're going to sell fuel because of the festival. So, but it's all strategy, but it's good. It's good in the press saying that just 1 month that Dangote is saying, look, I am going to reduce prices. The importers are now shouting that they are going to be losing about 75 billion every month. So for me, that's good. That's why we applied for deregulation.
All right.
And I don't know what the reason is for imported fuel to be cheaper than what you have here, especially with the president magnificent in making that leeway that you can buy crude in Naira. Yes. That should drive down, that should even make people say, okay, I would rather build a refinery in Nigeria. And NNPC too. You see, there seems to be a little bit of confusion here. Dangote said, I can meet all domestic demand. NNPC said, no, both we and Dangote can only meet 50%. So that's a challenge. So, but for me, I think it's good for the people. But unfortunately, the average Nigerian is not really enjoying this price war. Why am I saying that? The price of transportation hasn't come down. Yes. Due to other factors, and this exchange rate is one of those factors. If you have to buy some of your spare part, some of the things you import into this country, you are still bringing that an exchange rate of 1,500.
Right. Quickly, because of time, let me just throw in this question. Looking at our economic stability, still on the implication of these dwindling forex reserves on our economic stability, what are you seeing?
I'm not worried.
You're not
Sincerely
worried?
speaking,
Okay.
I'm not worried. I think our economy, we've seen the worst.
Have we?
We've seen the worst in terms of FX, which is largely what stabilized our economy. I think we've seen the worst. We've seen that exchange rate go as high as 1,900. At least in the next maybe in the next 2-3 years, if there's no any external shock, which would go beyond us.
Which we cannot control.
Which we cannot control. Then I don't see how we should be so bothered about it, because again, if you look at when this shock comes, you look at the companies that were really struggling, the manufacturers, the conglomerates, the telecom sector, the brewery sector. When you look at the result they are turning in, you realize that they are not profitability, but they are still suffering that exchange losses that started a while ago. So they are now, but you could see profitability. So they are returning back to profitability. That means returning back to economic stability.
So what can the government do now to inject this forex and improve on it?
You see, in terms of forex, you just need to attract investors. You just need to attract investors to bring in FX, not just depending on the just the sale of crude oil alone. Yes, we have remittance in Nigeria. You look at the non-oil sector. If you look at the GDP by Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, added over 95% today. But again, when you look at the value in terms of liquidity, it's low compared to the oil, the crude oil sale that is just adding 5%. So we need to begin to see how we can make more export, and then in large quantity that can attract the kind of effect that we can get through crude oil. Right. And again, Nigeria in the diaspora, they need, as I keep saying it, the CBN said they were going to come up with a product. They need to come up with a product to attract those Nigerians to invest in Nigeria. That alone is a game changer. Today, India have a foreign reserve of over 700 billion. And most of those foreign reserves are driven by Indians in the diaspora. They make sure they make remittance. Some of them even earn their salaries in where they are working. They said, give me this currency, send the order to our own country. So we need to also begin to look at intellectual. You see, the Jackpot syndrome should not be negativity, all about negativity. It could also help in driving FX into the Nigerian economy. And for the ordinary Nigerian, the government need to do something quickly as regards the costs of transportation with the coming down of the fare price. They still continue to talk with the labor union on that, because again, it's the elites that are really enjoying, those that have cars like you and her. So you are the one that your pocket has increased because your major of consumption now in fuel has gone down. We used to spend 60,000. You are now spending less 20% or less 50%.
Are you kidding?
Are you sure? Let me not talk.
No, I mean, if you used to fill your tank before at when it was 1,000, it's now lower when you are filling it, even if you look at the average price of 900. Or 950.
However, you can't compare it to when it was way lower.
No. I'm just saying where we are and where you are coming from.
But then, based on what you said earlier, and saying that we're getting, if things continue the way they are, then Nigeria is getting to the path of recovery. Are you saying that the economic reforms of this administration is yielding results already?
It is. Let's be sincere. It is yielding results, no matter how small those results are. We might not be seeing it, but it is really yielding result, because again, how do you know that a reform is yielding result? You look at the companies, you look at the industries, you look at what they are, especially the barometer to measure how good a company is. You look at the burner of the stock exchange of that country. You look at those companies that have been declaring losses, and you begin to see that the losses are still there, but you see that there's a reduction. They are returning back to profitability. Right. And the government has also been able to do some other things to help them. You talk about the telecom, government has been so you can increase your tariff. You talk about even electricity company, government said, okay, fine, they were looking at right pricing. That's right. So you could see that there's the communication sector also, you could see those improvements. Then FX, like I said, the exchange rate at when they were making losses was about 1,900, 1,800. We are hovering between 1,500, 1,550, 1,500, which for me is a corridor of stability. But I think the CBN need to do more so that we get stable. Once there is a stable exchange rate for a long time, then businesses are able to plan. My challenge with Nigerian exchanges is not maintaining stability in 1 year, 2 years, like we just said. Is to be able to maintain stability in the long term. That is the major challenge, because what I see is that once we deal with the issues, we are able to maintain stability. Everybody goes to sleep until an external forces hit us again. Right. And then we are back to where we used to be.
And that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Muktar Mohammed, CEO Finance with Muktar. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
Thank you.